Welcome to the stage, Laura Hope-Gill.
Good evening. Those of you who know me know I love two things. One of these is love, and the other one is poetry. And I'm going to take you back to meet one of my favorite people tonight, William Shakespeare. I share a birthday with him. So all the way from the beginning, my grandfather brought to the birth room the collected works. So we've been very close. I've learned that he wasn't taught to me the way that he ought to have been taught to me. I've learned that he's the Rosicrucian mask, which means he was one of the writers who did the literary stuff that the alchemists were doing in their laboratory, trying to turn things into gold. But what he was trying to do was turn himself into gold. And he leaves us with a path for how to do the same through the alchemical process. Each sonnet learned by Shakespeare from Petrarch in Florence, who discovered the sonnet 300 years before, when he fell madly in love with a woman named Laura, who never gave him the time of day, but in exchange for all that pain and suffering, he got immortality. He created a kind of poem that has a system for change built into it. The first two quatrains present a problem, an expansion of that problem until it can't expand any farther and has to turn around and encounter its own resolution in a rhyming couplet at the end. Here's the sonnet. When in disgrace with fortune and men's eyes, the speaker finds himself comparing himself, finding himself to be alone in an outcast state. It's because he's looking outward rather than inward. He's looking for material things rather than what really matters, which he'll reveal at the end. He troubles deaf heaven with bootless cries. When your cries don't have boots on, don't even try. He takes it even deeper when he looks only at himself in comparison to everyone else in the world who has so much more. And he does the only thing you can do when you're in that isolated state of despair. He curses his fate. He starts comparing himself even more deeply, wishing himself to be more rich in hope, like somebody else. And we can always name somebody else who's more rich in hope than ourselves. He goes even deeper. Featured like him, with friends possessed. This is a wonderful recipe for absolute self-despair and devastation. Just compare yourself with the guys on TV. That's always a good way to go. Desire that man's art or that man's scope. Compare yourself to everybody else, and eventually you will feel absolutely rotten. And you will be, like the speaker, contented least with the things you love the most. All joy will drain from your life because you're only comparing yourself to others. Yet, in these thoughts, myself almost despising, there's a thread of hope. We're almost despising. He finds the trick. Are you ready for it? Haply, I think on thee. And then my state. This is the second time we've heard that word state. My entire state of being. It's going to be good. Like to the lark at break of day arising. Does that feel better? Yeah. His state, like a lark at the break of day arising. From sullen earth sings hymns at heaven's gate. This is what love does, man. That's what it does. Well, you know, the credit rating can be in the toilet. Everything can be falling apart. But if you've found the person whose sweet love remembered such wealth brings, yeah, taste the candy hearts. That then we scorn to change our state with kings. Whoa, that's a transformative process. 14 lines, iambic pentameter, two octaves, two quatrains stating the problem, and then an expansion of the problem with a turn and a resolution at the end. And he wrote a whole book of them. Shakespeare, Sonnet 29. Thank you.